Right.
Yeah, thanks all for coming. Welcome to all here in the museum. Also, folks joining on Zoom. My name is Hotam. I'm the curator and director of exhibitions here at MOCA. Helped to organize the exhibition that this program is part of. Magazine Fever, Gen X Asian American periodicals, and the exhibition is a sort of history, but also a kind of multi-generational conversation about magazines and publishing, and how the Asian American voice, identity, and culture was um, developed through these print publications. And so today I'm really excited to welcome Hotam as a guest speaker and somebody who would be in conversation with. I'm really excited about this because I actually learned about Hotam's work, another magazine or periodical exhibition at the museum earlier this year. And I was really intrigued by the work because it was very autobiographical, also very experimental, and also tapped into like this language of magazine publishing and the kind of like lexicon of that format. So I'm going to kind of structure this like an oral history, I think, in a way, because I think you lived in New York, maybe for folks out there here and online, maybe a lot of people are new to your work. So I don't know. Maybe first of all, okay, so are you ready?
Yeah.
Ready to go?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Right. So maybe first, like your name, because we have the same last name, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe talk about like your roots, where you grew up, where you were born, sort of like the backstory.
Sure. My name is Hotam, and currently I'm based in Vancouver, Canada. I was born in Hong Kong in the 1960s. I moved to Toronto, Canada in the 70s, late 70s, and to high school and also university there. And in 1996, I moved to New York City and I attended the UNI study program, and I stayed on and 1 years, and also went to college on the MFA program. Left the city. So from 1996 to 2010, hanging out in New York City. And then I was in the West, and then I moved to West Coast in 2004. So I've been on the Prince for.
What was the reason why what was the reason originally why you or your family went to Canada?
Basically just for like I guess my father was in his job, so he went to Florida, Canada. There were some relatives there, and so we went. That's why we settled in Toronto. Yeah, and then I didn't really start making art until 90s, basically.
You know, so about that later, but like your history pointed to art making. Like, where did that come from?
Oh, yeah, it was very interesting. I was studying social work when I was at university, and I was in a field placement program. I was watching people doing therapy, and I suddenly realized that I should be the one who's doing the goal in making out there therapy. So at that point, I kind of stopped learning my way to the art.
What was the medium that you were worked in?
Like I guess as everybody would have been making art. I did drawing, paintings. In New York City, I was quite distracting. Or maybe I was very interested in the city life, so I was doing more photography and video. I've been always been making books too, so on and off I've been making some just books or chapters. Okay, those are my mediums.
In the show, the exhibition, there's a lot of intersecting, I guess, histories uh, having to do with magazines, and one of them is I think, like the 90s, and like this Gen X identity. And I was curious because you're here in the 90s in New York. Like, what was that? Maybe can you paint a picture of like New York and the scene that you ran in the 90s? Like, what was it like here?
Uh, hmm, I guess during that time, the magazine zines were kind of very prosperous and we did a lot. I mean, even in the news that stuff too. So those years, like kind of stuff, get media and I was always interested in those. Also, of course, the street music and also MTV music videos and things like which I was very attracted to, and also up to now.
If you talk about the magazines you were like, I asked you this question as we were doing like research for the show, like what kind of magazines did you grow up with?
When I was in Hong Kong, my mom was a school teacher, so I was at mostly very straight-laced tempo. So it's more like Walt Disney's comics or Reader Digest, that kind of just generally reading materials. But I'm always drawn to the pop culture, like teenage idols and music, and movies and gossip. And a lot of domestic, like women's kind of homemaking fashion as well. I think that's I have a lot of clients and women, female in my family, so I also shot each other's reading materials.
Yeah, my experience with magazines were that they were uh, kind of like everything. They were like a way to tap into aspects of culture that I wanted to learn more about. I was really curious about. Um, I was also really into sports, so there's magazines for that. There was just like a magazine for everything. And
Yes. Yeah, especially like I guess even in the 70s in Hong Kong, like I think it was the beginning of the golden age of the print media. So so there were lots of things on the newsstands. I was, and then sometimes they would bring these magazines in say pocket size book. So they are very much like the zines that we have. And then I think that's how I get started or get the idea of making my zines.
oh, so did you make zines when you were a kid?
Yeah, like probably about 8 or 9, I sort of started like kind of trying to create my magazines and just from cutting up like pictures from other magazines, collage and supply my writings, or sometimes I call articles and things into the sort of presented as a magazine style. I don't really forget about content in the building. Just a lot of pretty pictures and sometimes.
And then, like moving ahead, how did you get back into, like you said, you were making paintings and video, but then also started what
I guess
and where you got back into making books again?
yes. I said I always been interested in making books, so I was just making one of the comics sometimes. And then at that point when I was painting, I felt that like the painting couldn't really say everything I want to say. So I think maybe the book form was more closer to what I wanted to do, and I can create that on the Yellow Pages, which is data version. It was actually a checkbook, so I understand it was
What year was this?
that was 1993. Yeah, and it was people were interested, and then I eventually got to make a video.
Can you talk about the concept of Yellow Pages?
The
Because it's really
Yellow Pages is in the show, so it's basically about like stereotypes of or things about Asian culture or Asian identity or stereotypes. And used to there would be a word, and then I would match it up with an image, so tap an image. And then it was presented on the alphabet book, so it's like A to Z. The Yellow Pages, and it was the telephone directory. Yeah. So, which probably does not exist anymore. A few years ago, I still saw some.
Yeah, it was. They were really interesting. They were like really part of my childhood, where they used to get sent to everybody, I think, and then they were huge, like that's the, and then they alphabeticalized any kind of business by type of business, right? So like there's dry cleaners, and then
Restaurant.
restaurants, and then you just look into that category for what you're looking for, I think.
Dentist.
Yeah.
Tailor.
Yeah. So you basically made a Yellow Pages of Asian history, like issues.
Yeah, kind of like you get that fall. You born the name.
Right. And yellow because of the association of Asians with
Color yellow. Because of Asian. Like when I was painting too, I tried to kind of create this like sort of one form vegetable using like a yellow skin tone kind of color.
Is that something that's kind of part of your work beyond like magazine making? Is this like exploration of skin color or racial, I guess, dynamics, ethnicity, and like the sort of diaspora? I don't know.
Yeah, in the 90s, it was a very like as much as right now, like these days, like it has been a very critical topic. So a lot of just South Asian API, AP, other stuff. So exploring heritage.
It matters. Like that, and also, what did you feel like it frustrates you to sort of speak to those subjects?
Yes and no. I think I'm interested. I was interested in exploring some of the issues, but at the same time, I didn't feel iron in that situation. So I think the Yellow Pages was actually a way of me to express that absurdity of identity politics. So in the book, actually, it has all these like conflicting concepts about identity, about stereotypes, about identity. So it's not really one. It's not always like acting on one side. So people actually have to think about the position, questions, so images of those words.
Yeah, I got that too from this piece, even though it's kind of, it feels straightforward, but then when you look at the different words that you use and how you illustrate them, essentially there's a complexity to how you have to like process like your own relationship to it, and then how you feel as a reader, like what your relationship to that is too. I think there's an interesting triangulation of like the reading of it, the legibility of it, I guess.
But at the same time, I have to say it's also meant to be funny.
Yeah.
So it's not like just very serious reading there. You know, it's like pages of pages of politics that you have to deal with. Like it's there also breathing space to review or just so there's something in between.
Yeah, yeah. I think the thing of you reducing, like Asian visibility, for example, into just like a spread of all these different like sort of famous Asians, I think is like funny and just as a way, just like as an act of reduction or something. Yeah, and also I believe it's about the issue one too, and how did this come together? Just like branding of Hotam magazine, and why you wanted to
I think about 10, 15 years ago, I was very tired and taking part in the political left a teaching job, and I was still feeling very critical of everything I do. About really, I'm just like making art makes me it's very at that time. So I decided to help artists make scenes, and so I started some projects that to collaborate with artists to push their work, to the workhouse nationally. That's been successful. It's more successful. And because of doing that, I sort of start to meet people, also this process of print on demand, magazine thing like that, which I could use. So and also I found because of so many books I've been working with artists on, it's getting more kind of getting back some of my confidence or creativity. So I decided to I found that I still have a lot of here. So I decided to kind of sort of go right back to use that medium and try to itself. So that's how before a whole term this book series, there's also a series called Hotam, which is the photography, which is very structured. It's always like it's street photography, so it's very kind of formatted into like, although it has 6 issues, but they all formats the same. And then when I do the Hotam series, I decided that it would be more like open concept mode. Each time I will explore something that I want to put into. I call it Hotam because I think of a better name because I don't know all the names are taken by corporations and eventually being used by someone. So if I at least use my name, then like people can sue me for that, or at least there will be some authority on that.
Yeah.
Right. So that's how I call it the Hotam, and then because I call it I intended with my name, so I decided the first issue has to be. I never really want to put myself in my previous work and any of my work, like in videos or in paintings and all that. So I think it's like wall that I had to break. So I have to go all the way out and show myself. So in this book, actually, it has some pictures from me maybe to whatever age I was at that point. Each page is 1 year in my life. So it's concept. And the book also, besides my own picture of that year, it was also matched with the timeline of what happened that year. So,
Was it hard to choose what world events to so photographs like?
I try to find a balance. Yeah. So it was fun because actually, like I guess I'm a somewhat kish person, you know, so I like that research too. So actually, I looking to each year. There are things that I didn't want to hear, and then I included in the book.
And how that's the other question I forgot. Anyway, oh, yeah, audience, like, who were you thinking would be people reading this, and were you thinking about an audience?
Not so much of an audience. Basically, I just feel really free to use this platform because you can print as many as you want, or just one copy. So it's not concerned about stock to of 100 or hundreds that you have to take care of. I think it sort of relieves me from the pressure of finding or of having to look for an audience. I didn't have any followers, and even now I don't have any followers. And really very good friends, not collecting. So generally, I just make what I want to make, but I do want the work to be accessible, and I do want the work to be able to that people can just come across to that person. So I don't want to make really totally self sense. I don't just kind of I just want to make things stuff. I guess I want to talk.
And what's the relationship between, the magazine publication work and, other work you're making now? Like, are you still making video or anything for us? Publishing stuff? Superseded?
Yes, I'm kind of going back to some of the painting, like maybe exploring doing drawings. I'm also trying to I work with some newspaper as well. The last 2 years I was making 3 newspapers. So these newspapers are more than close to because I so they are art piece themselves. Videos, I don't know how maybe what they are.
Maybe we should talk about the magazine issue, which is one I saw. I guess at the printed matter. Not sort of after staying in the museum. They had already started planning the magazine show here at the time. I was just like really kind of blown away by this. Could you just talk about the process and your idea for this?
Yeah, ever since I started this magazine project, I have this idea that I want to make a book of the covers of all the magazines that I've been come across. So I decided to. So this issue is about that. So what I do is like I extract videos of the magazine, replace the cover with. So the photographers are always just snapshots of in the camera itself. So they're kind of personal, but I sort of want to kind of, I guess in a way, tell this magazines that I'm actually the reader, but I'm also photo
Passive consumer.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah. So they consume me, but I also consume them.
Yeah, the relationship sometimes between the title of the magazine and the image is really funny and subversive sometimes. Sometimes the relationship is very clear. Like it's almost like just like subversion of the title, and then sometimes you don't know what the relationship is. Can you talk about how you chose the images to go along with like the title of the magazine?
A lot of times I'm just playing with the irony of the word. Also thinking sometimes it could be serious, sometimes it could be like something happening in the world that triggered me to example. I think you used the magazine picture in as one of the promo. Yeah. I don't know if you know where this picture comes from. It's more the idea. It was from. Actually, it was made in 2014. team, and it was a real one that a Malaysian airline missing in the air. So this piece is actually, I feel like it's kind of missing. You can see the airplane, and where the
Some kind of film busy where.
where is that? Where is actually a magazine? Anyone remember? Well, they used to be hotels. They only exist in the hotel. When you go and check, like when you're in a hotel room, they usually have this like city, like here in Chicago, you know, Chicago version, where there would be a version.
Because I don't think that or anything where.
And then there's another one that's interesting. Also about travel. Used to like travel about Canada. Person sleeping on a plane. Let's go on.
Let us get this.
I was walking down the island and saw this person like come out and like, well, I really need to take a picture of him. So, and then, but I never knew how I would use it at that point. I was just like, I think at one point, like people were taking a lot of snapshots, like it was like 10, 15 years ago, and the phone, the cell phone, and also digital camera starting to be very popular, and people just everyone is taking funny pictures and posting, and yeah. So I was one of those.
I'm gonna ask you this maybe difficult to answer question. Just throw it out there, you can do it if you want. But you know, the show traces like the formation of like a certain generation's idea of Asian American identity and culture. And yeah, I wanted to ask you just how you think about the term Asian American for yourself.
I guess I'm more Asian Canadian. So I guess American also refer to North America. See that. See that. So is that your question, or you want me to like I mean deeper level?
It's however deep you want to take it, you know. But I just think it's an open question, you know, especially now too, because I think a lot of people are interested in what the history is of this term and how it came about. For the show, it's really about like this Gen X, late 90s. Sorry. You know, kind of sort of taking a different approach to being Asian American, where it's more about like pop culture and consumerist, like seeing Asian Americans as like a consumer uh, market. And you know, I'm just interested in you know, nowadays there's I think increased attention on like since you know anti-Asian hate, I guess. Like, you know, what does it mean to be Asian American now, and what are the sort of responsibilities of that term, and you know, solidarities with other ethnic groups being part of it, and relationship to these bigger events that are happening in a larger scale across like the country and the world. Like, what is the connection of you know Asian American with all that? So I just think it's uh, something we're trying to unpack, I guess, for a specific you know moment in history, but it's something I think a lot of people are asking themselves now too.
Well, I think it's very important to have these like the show equitable. You know, during the show, I think it's very important to historicize or explore all these different magazines. I have been, you know, I think in life I've been very influenced. I wouldn't say influenced, but I was inspired by A magazine, John. is in the show. So I think, and they did definitely cultivate my sense of identity. Um, and this is the voices that I don't see in the mainstream media. So I think it's important here to think about how they so often could kind of build a community. For myself, I think mostly, I don't know if I would consider myself a magazine maker, because this is like an art. I mean, that I borrow to use. Because this is like the Hotam series would be Asian American artists.
Thanks for that. Yeah, we're really lucky to have Angelo Ricasa from A Magazine here, who's you know, been really great in terms of talking to about the history of magazines and in that era. And I think maybe we should just open up to questions out here. If anybody has questions, we'd love to hear it.
You've moved in I remember thinking of keeping my way with friends. Well, I've found myself sort of going back to print recently with launching to take entirely different neighborhoods to find a printed copy of the New York Times, even though I have it on my phone, because I have a bit of device fatigue and a very different experience, like flipping through articles that I might read because it's mix of things. That's very fun. So that I was curious. You do print on demand? Is that how you?
Yes, the app is I guess the supplier is Mac.
Okay. And are you doing your own graphic design as well?
Yes, I'm basically a one person
Operation.
Operation. So from editorial design writing to distribution. So,
And do you sell the copies of the magazines and do you fulfill the sales and pay for the shipping and all that stuff yourself?
yes and no. The Metcloud could help you. Like they have a store, so you can. So right now I'm kind of directing people to everything because I will like I don't like because I have to order from them to supply the order too. So it's like something again I would do it all in my job. Yeah. So they and then they sometimes I sell them in the art book fairs. They printed matter, CD, great. Two art book fairs in New York and Missouri, which I obviously a lot in the shop. I do sell some of the books. I do carry some of the issues as well.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
First of all, thank you both. You talked about like kind of when you were growing up, there was this very like strong identitarian push that was moving a lot of these magazines. And then you talk about it also happening now. I'm curious about that period in between where it seemed to like go away. Like just the feeling of watching that and then fall. And what did it look like in the absence of that push?
Well, I guess what has changed is me because I was mostly a consumer. TV was really like magazines were very big, and then now these days I'm kind of becoming a producer of it, and I really kind of interested in what other people are making too. So I'm kind of my perspective is different now. So for me it's would be like twofold. Like one is from as a consumer, one is as a producer. I don't know how it sells these days for magazines, but mine doesn't sell very much, like that. I barely, some once in a while sell good copies. I think sustainability is very important. So I think that was discussed like, in the last panel too. And I do, I'm kind of putting these like bigger these mechanisms on hold in my projects, and I'm sort of focusing on smaller and that will be easier to share. So yeah, it's like the post stage is a big issue with that with so it's like
Sean. Talk about this.
all right. Yes, this is basically about different, I guess, different ways of immigrants to America. So it could be like railroad workers or laborers in the 19th century before. And now they get wealth and foundation, therefore, so wealth and so, so, yeah. So difference.
Other questions? No?
Those, it was really inspiring. Wow. Kind of simple question. Is the magazine project there still continue, or where are you at? And yeah.
After 15 issues of the Hotam and then 7 issues of the poster, using the same font and it's tired of the font. I would like to explore maybe and this project in the future, but it will be either it would be different. I think, as I said like earlier, I'm looking like because a lot of my work is about the content, for these days, and I do have a lot to say, and then I want to reach out to more audience. So I'm thinking in terms of how use a more efficient way to get like I mean this is beautiful, like this is, but it's also could be expensive to print like in this demand. So I'm thinking maybe kind of starting from this, which is less expensive but accessible to like, for example, newspaper people. I'm still doing printing, yes. Yeah. I just go through like different computers. Sometimes I print stuff. What it's to print. Printing.
Thank you so much, Hotam. Round of applause. We're having a lot more programming for Magazine Fever on Tuesday coming up. We're gonna host the 4M exchange with the magazine 4M, which is another one of the new locations, and it's a sort of conceptual project. 4M magazine is where they try to help people who are applying for the O1 visa. Artists who are applying for this visa need to demonstrate their extraordinary ability and talent, and so the whole program is featuring artists who are part of the magazine and are going through this O1 visa application process. And it's learn more about that. So, yeah, I want to talk in a way where you might let's understand what it is, but like the magazine's there, the program's October 8th on Tuesday night. And we have a lot more coming up too, like including a comic, Asian American comic sort of gathering of artists happening on the 16th, right? October 16th. So come back for that programs. Thanks so much for help.